Hi guys, I'm Alexmo, and in a lot of Pokemon series, Ash only catches Pokemon from that certain generation, but now in Pokemon Journeys, Ash has been catching Pokemon from Generation 1 and 4, not just Generation 8. So, I wanted to theorize and just think about, what would Ash's team be like in Journeys if he was only allowed to have Generation 8 Pokemon? So on the screen you can see the rules. So I'll keep Pikachu of course and all of his Galar Pokemon, but everyone else will be replaced. I will make sure they all have similar characteristics, but I won't really be taking types into account. For instance, Lucario's replacement doesn't have to be a fighting and steel type. And also he needs to have one starter Pokemon, because whenever Ash catches only Pokemon from one generation, he has a starter Pokemon, though really the only reason that was changed in Journeys is because it wasn't a Galar focused series. So I will start off by explaining my replacement for Ash's Lucario, and I have decided that he will be catching the Pokemon Cinderace. So first of all, Lucario and Cinderace are both humanoid Pokemon, similar body shapes, similar heights, so as far as those characteristics go, the physical characteristics, they're very similar. As for personality, Ash's Lucario has a somewhat similar personality to Go's Reboot when it was kind of emo before it became more friendly when it evolved into Cinderace. I do think that Ash's Riolu and Go's Cinderace do have similar personalities, but that is kind of a stretch. Of course, these personalities don't really mean anything, as any Pokemon could have any personality, but it is something to keep in mind as we've seen these Pokemon having these certain personalities. So I do also want to replace moves, so for the first two are Aura Sphere and Double Team. I'm going to be replacing Aura Sphere with Pyro Ball. They're both ball-based moves, and in the anime, Aura Sphere and Pyro Ball have done some combo attacks together, so they are similar. As for Double Team is its own kind of move, there's nothing really similar to that. So I settled on Agility, another move that can trip the opponents up. It's not perfect, but they're both status-based moves and kind of similar. So the other two moves that Lucario has are Reversal and Force Palm, which use its fists and hands. Cinderace is more of a kicking Pokemon, so I decided to give it Blaze Kick and Bounce to use its feet more. Fits better for Cinderace in my opinion, and I just didn't want to give it fist moves or punching moves just because of its more kick-based style. So next up is Gengar, and I decided to replace it with the Pokemon Morgrem. So one of Gengar's personality traits is that it likes to play pranks and tricks, and Morgrem, being a dark type, being kind of crafty, is similar to that. Playing pranks and tricks, being an imp, it's similar. Now I did settle on Morgrem instead of Grimmsnarl just because Grimmsnarl is kind of menacing, kind of intimidating, and honestly kind of scary, and I just do not see it fitting for Ash. Now you might think it fits for Ash, so this is kind of debatable. Morgrem could be replaced with Grimmsnarl, but I personally choose Morgrem over Grimmsnarl. Of course, if Ash were to have Grimmsnarl instead, it has its Gigantamax form, which would be another Gigantamax Pokemon for Ash to have. Gengar has a Gigantamax form too, so it's kind of a parallel. So again, it could be Morgrem or Grimmsnarl. I just chose Morgrem. So I decided to replace Shadow Ball with another ball-based move, being Focus Blast. Now, Morgrem cannot learn Focus Blast, only Grimmsnarl can, so it would really only have this if it were the Grimmsnarl. However, I did want to include that just because it's very similar. I also replaced Nightshade with Dark Pulse. They're both similar moves, like giving off a dark energy, and overall I just think they're pretty similar, both projectile attacks, and make sense. As for Ice Punch and Psychic, I did not really choose similar moves. For one, I replaced Ice Punch with False Surrender, both being physical attacks, and also False Surrender being Morgrem's signature move. I thought it should have False Surrender, and also both of them being physical attacks makes sense. As for Psychic, Morgrem can't really learn anything similar to that. Even when it evolves into Grimmsnarl, it can't learn Psychic. So I decided to give it a different move, which is Play Rough. And the reason I chose this move is because Morgrem needs a fairy move, and also could use another physical move. This is an interesting pick, but I will explain why I think it works, and that is that I'm replacing Dragonite with the Pokemon Greedent. Now, part of Dragonite's personality is that it's very lovable, it loves to hug everyone, and is just very happy and nice. Greedent having that same happiness, just looking like a nice Pokemon, especially in the anime, it just looks like it would want to hug you, you know? Another part of Dragonite's personality is that it can be very strong when it needs to be. As for Greedent, it might not seem like a strong Pokemon, but it can have a lot of strong attacks like Counter and Superpower. I also think it would be funny to have a Pokemon that looks so cute, having such strong moves. That's something that you see sometimes in the anime, so I think that would be interesting. I do want to quickly point out that having a Greedent instead of a Dragonite means Ash wouldn't be able to fly around during the Darkest Day arc, so I think he could just use a Corviknight Taxi instead. Now onto the moves. So I've decided to replace Dragon Dance with Belly Drum. Basically, they're both stat boosting moves. They're not exactly the same, but they can work similarly in the anime, both giving a power boost. The only thing is that Belly Drum would have to be used differently because it loses half the HP. As for Hyper Beam, I'm just going to keep it. It gives Green a ranged attack, but you could change that for any other move if you wanted to. I've decided to swap Dragon Claw for Superpower, both being physical moves, both being able to do a lot of damage, especially Superpower. I think there would also be a certain comedy to this very derpy looking squirrel Pokemon using Superpower. As for Hurricane, there wasn't really any similar move to it, and I don't think Greedent needed another ranged move with Hyper Beam, so I decided to give it Counter for another very strong move, very interesting move. I think that would be cool for it to have. And here's the team. Of course, the 3 Pokemon I went over, as well as Sirfetch'd, Pikachu, and Dracovish. I think this would be a very interesting team, and it has type diversity. Overall, a very strong team for a Alolan champion traveling a new region. Now tell me in the comments below what you would do for Ash's team if it was all Galar Pokemon, and also what you would do for their movesets if you wanted to give your choices movesets or change up my choices movesets. Thanks for watching the video. I have other Pokemon content planned, so I hope you stick around and watch them. I'll see you in the next video.